Thanks for joining me on the channel today. As you can see, we're changing things up a little bit today. At work, I came up with the idea of working on a Christmas promo using tiny little Santa villages, little houses, and of course a little miniature Christmas train. But you know what? I wasn't sure on how to do that. I've never seen it online on how to shoot a Santa's village. I've seen lots of Santa's village and little Christmas houses and stuff, and they're fantastic, they look great on camera, but I wasn't sure how to shoot it myself. Anyways, today join me as we're both going to learn the best possible ways to shoot a Christmas village, and hopefully everything turns out just perfect. We are working on Santa's miniature Christmas village today. Now, why are we doing that, you ask? It's not because I'm a huge Christmas fan. I like Christmas. And it's not because I'm really into small little Christmas village decorations. They're okay. These aren't mine. I had to borrow them. The reason we're doing this is because at work, I was making a promo using these Christmas decorations, and I wanted to make a YouTube video on how I did this promo. The promo was all about Christmas. Our hosts were green screened into the little set saying Merry Christmas everybody and a Happy New Year, wishing our viewers the very best in the new year and a Merry Christmas. Very simple. But for me, it was something that I've never done before, and I really wanted to try it. So the first thing I had to do was find out where I was gonna get all this stuff from, because I didn't own any of it. To be honest with you, I own nothing of it. So of course I put it out there on social media, and I had a whole bunch of friends get back to me and said I could borrow some of their stuff. One person in particular was great. She had almost everything. It's been in the family for years, and she was able to lend it to me. That's fantastic, and that's what you see behind me. Really great stuff. Boxes and boxes and boxes of stuff that I had to be very careful not to break because I am a bit clumsy sometimes. Anyways, it turned out pretty well, I think. I've never set this stuff up before. So for me, if I had to go do it again, that was the big thing. I would have taken more time. I gave myself maybe 2-3 hours to set it all up. Sure enough, I needed double that, which seems the way it goes in the video business, isn't it? Anyways, once I had it all set up, I had to make sure everything was working. I had to make sure the train was working. Then I had to add the lights, which I probably should have did early on, but I didn't know any better. Now I do. So if I had to do it again, I would have changed a lot of things with it. But overall, I was pretty happy with the outcome of this thing. Now, I was using a slide with my camera. Most of my shots were on my Sony a6400 on the slide. I was shooting at 60 frames per second for the most part, and some of the stuff I really slowed it down at 120 frames. I was getting some really cool stuff and I really liked it. You really had to be careful with your focus because of the depth of field. So some of the stuff would stay in focus, and then as the train would move around the track, you would lose focus, which is fine. Some of the stuff I actually tried to green screen the background. You can take a look at it here. It turned out okay, but I learned quickly that Christmas sets have a lot of green in it. So anything I keyed out, which was my green screen, also keyed out a lot of my set. Sure, I could have went in post and fixed it and used some masks and stuff like that, but that was a lot of work, and I didn't want to go through all that little details just to get that shot. I actually didn't mind the black background. I added a little bit of blue to give it that night blue sky, and I think it turned out pretty well. Again, I might have changed a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it was good. Now, I did try other colors other than green for the background. Instead of a green screen, I tried a blue screen. I tried even a pink screen. Nothing really worked, and there was lots of colors in this very vibrant looking Santa's village, so that was the problem there. Not a big deal. We just kept it simple, and I kept this black curtain as a backdrop. No problem. I also used my a6400 with my brand new Ronin SC gimbal. I just got the gimbal. I haven't had a lot of chance to practice with this one, but I wanted to see what it could do. So I hooked it up, and I got a couple interesting shots. I really wanted to hook the monopod onto it so I get some jib shots. but the set itself just isn't wide enough to get the shots that I wanted without getting other stuff like the floor and other cables and stuff in the way, which is a big pet peeve of mine. So you just have to be very careful when you're shooting a set like this. One of my favorite things about shooting this is how creative you can get. You have great options of different shots you can do, even using the slide, but sometimes you go off slide onto the tripod and you get some great rack focus shots. Now, you gotta be careful with your depth of field on this because you're working with very, very small little figurines or small little villages, but it was a lot of fun to try to be as creative as you can with such a little set. And I really, really enjoyed that. And I learned a lot of new things working with this little set, which I can use in the future of my videos. So that's really, really great. I had a lot of fun with it. Later on, I let the kids come in and play with the trains. The kids of all ages, actually. My coworkers were playing with the trains. Yeah, you make a train sound and everybody comes running. Isn't that the way it works? That's okay. They had a lot of fun with it too, and they wanted to know what I was doing, so I got a good chance to explain to them that I wasn't going bonkers, that I was doing this for a reason. So I would change things up a little bit, but for the most part, I think it was pretty good. Again, maybe I would have hired somebody or got a friend that knew how to set up these little villages and the little figurines, because I had a lot of trouble doing it properly. But that's my fault, and I just haven't done it before. So yeah, that's the main thing I would have changed up. Now, I did shoot a lot of footage, and that's good. I normally do shoot a lot of footage, so it takes me a long time to go through all that footage, all that B-roll to get what I want. But that's fine. I'd rather have more than less, as you all know if you're out there making your own videos or shooting your own stuff. The green screen effect worked out pretty well. Now, it's very, very hard not to come off as cheesy when you're doing one of these things. So we just went with it. We had fun with it. Sure, it was a little cheesy. You're taking people and you're shrinking them down to a little village. That's going to be a little cheesy, and that's fine. That's kind of what we were going for, to have a little fun with this. After all, it's a Christmas village set. You have to have fun with it, right? One of the most difficult things I also had with this was for the little trees and little figurines to stand up. Once you started shooting them, a lot of them were falling down. Sometimes they've already fallen down and I didn't notice, and I was shooting something else and your tree's down. We had a tree on the track when almost crashed the train, which was scary. Train accidents are real. Anyways, so that was kind of funny. I noticed it just in time and I popped it up, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But it could have caused a little bit of trouble and maybe broken one of these little figurines, again, which aren't mine, and I would have hated to have something bad like that happen. So, for the most part, I think it was pretty good. It was a great learning experience for me. I really liked how you can get in there and change your shots from one shot to the next and get creative. And, you know, I even changed the figurines a little, I placed them a little bit differently if I wanted to get a certain rack focus here or a certain depth of field over there. And it turned out pretty well, I think. I would have changed a little bit, but for the most part, it was a lot of fun to do. And anyone that was involved in it, the kids that were doing some promos with me, my kids, they loved doing it, of course. And our hosts here doing the promos, they had a lot of fun with it as well, which makes doing the promos that much easier. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions on how I accomplished some of this stuff, just let me know, no problem. Again, not an expert, but it was a lot of fun to try this out for the first time. And maybe we'll do part 2 next year. I'm not sure. Maybe an Easter set? There's no such thing as an Easter set. I did see a Halloween set. That might be kind of cool. Yeah, maybe. To the drawing board. See you next time.